So a couple of days ago, I did the iPhone 14 Pro Max versus the iPad Pro 11-inch M2, and the iPhone was basically about similar in performance to the 11 M2, with the Geekbench being higher, obviously, on that iPad. But that naturally led to the question because in my prior speed test, the Galaxy S23 Ultra, arguably the king of smartphones, was a little bit faster in its speed tests. Can this actually compete in terms of speed with an M2 chip? So let's go ahead and begin with boot up in 3, 2, go. And for those of you saying, oh this guy comparing a phone to a computer chip, listen, these are both mobile products, and I'm not directly comparing this phone as to an iPad in terms of like buy one or the other. I just want to see the performance with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 versus the M2 CPU. You can see right here in this format, this is the one for Galaxy. The iPad turns on faster. Funny enough, I will say that when I was because I always pre-test before I make these videos, it's kind of funny how similar these are. This has an Apple Pencil. This has an S Pen in the body. And while we do have the Samsung tablets that do have even closer to the iPad, it's just funny because I feel like the shape of this is more like a tablet. This phone, this is kind of like a little mini tablet in your pocket, the S23 Ultra, versus an iPhone just being a phone version of an iPad without the split screen. But this has split screen, has a pen. These are actually quite close in what they can actually do in terms of usability, although the iPad is just much larger, so it's going to be much more productive, but you can basically do most mini tablet tasks on the S23 Ultra. Now, in terms of unlocking these devices, the Galaxy S23 Ultra has a face unlock that can be easily bypassed just by looking at the product. Also, you can go ahead and press the fingerprint sensor or press it if you know where it's at, and it unlocks. So this phone right here is actually a little bit quicker than the iPad Pro to unlock here. So if I go ahead and just take a look there, I am in. One more time, Face ID, incredibly smooth, buttery quick on the iPad Pro 11. So I would say in terms of just the biometric speed, the iPad is a little bit slower, but not by a ton. Now you can see we can also enable the same screen grid here as these icons on the iPad, which is like a 5:6 layout. So you can get that same, that's why I'm saying it's pretty similar. You can also do split screen multitasking as you can do on the iPad here. But generally speaking, we did just get the July update patch for the Galaxy S23 Ultra. And man, this thing just flies. Everything you do with this phone, incredibly fast. And the thing that's great about that is that Samsung's been throwing discounts, trade-in offers, and you can still get the S23 Ultra, probably the most versatile phone on the market, for cheaper than a 14 Pro Max, or even some foldable devices that are out now that are not nearly as quick as that phone. So you can see right here, iPad buttery smooth. And one thing I really like about iPad is I feel like it's a little smoother than the iPhone. Even in the app library, everything just feels liquid quick, like all the time. Only thing I don't really love about the iPad Pro 11 is the LCD display. I do like the OLED panels that we find on Samsung products, but overall, just generally speaking, performance, pretty darn good. All right, so we've arrived at the app portion of this video. You can see everything closed out for both phones. Did I say phones? Phone and tablet. And let's go ahead and start with calendar. And it looks to me like the Samsung was faster. Swiping out, pretty much the same. Let's go to clock. Samsung looking a little quicker there. We'll go into weather. Samsung opened their weather app faster as well. Now, they are loading a little bit more content here on the iPad, but not so much really. You have it over here, but there's still content down here. So I'm still giving that one to Samsung. Let's go into Play Store, App Store, and you could see even. Was that even? That's kind of what I've seen. Let's go ahead and go to games now. And you'll find games faster on the Samsung to load. So look at this, content is still loading up a little bit slow over there. If we go ahead and swipe out, one thing I really like about the Galaxy S23 Ultra is Samsung has improved faster on Groupon on the left. They have improved their, animations. While they're not still the best out there, I feel like they're definitely better. iPad won that one out when we actually loaded something. Let's go back, take a look at, how about tickets and events? And now Samsung. So they're going to trade, but the fact that Samsung's loading that faster could be down to the fact that this iPad is loading up side-by-side content. At the same time, M2 should be far more powerful. And you've seen Samsung faster on Amazon. Again, I think that might be down to the content. I'm not trying to say it is, but let's go to Instagram here. And let me blow this up to iPad level. We'll go over here. And we'll see this latest iPad post when in Instagram about the same. Twitter. And Twitter faster on the left. This is looking faster. That's the Samsung. This is looking faster than what I've seen on the iPhone 14 Pro Max comparison to this iPad. Let's go into Best Buy. This just shows the level. This is faster on the iPad. So maybe it's not the content because, again, we're loading more content here. But this time it was faster on the iPad. It might just be down to the app. Let's go to products. How about we go to computers and tablets? So pretty similar. By the way, that's a pretty good deal on the M1 MacBook Air. Only $799 now. That thing was like over $1,000 before. Let's go into eBay. And you'll see eBay on the left. And we'll head up out of here and we'll go into Dead Trigger. It looks like the Samsung has the jump on the iPad. This is insane, but the iPad wins here and Dead Trigger too. Now Samsung. So if you want like a little mini tablet phone, that's going to be the Samsung S23 Ultra. If you want the slab style. I'm not talking about foldables. You know, the upcoming Z Fold 5, I think is going to be a beast when it comes to the CPU. They're probably going to throw in the same chip, or if not, maybe a plus version of that chip. So I'm looking forward to the Z Fold 5. But yeah, the Pixel Fold has a Tensor G2. It's one of the reasons why I still haven't picked one up. But let's go ahead and go over here to, we'll go to Call of Duty and see which one can actually get into this game first. Samsung jumping ahead. And we'll hit confirm here on both. Hit the guest tablets. So right here, we got to go to, it's like the iPad might have been, nah, they're about the same. So they got into this application at about the same pace. So Call of Duty looking about the same. Of course, connect the gaming controller to the iPad. It's going to be a much better experience because you have a much larger display. Again, if you want this OLED panel, you want this display, you can just get a Galaxy Tab S8 or wait for the S9 that's coming soon. We'll go ahead and hit play for Temple Run 2. And you'll see, pretty good. And let's go ahead and go into Subway Surfers. By the way, let me know if you guys want to see like the Tab S9 versus the iPad Pro speed test comparison, stuff like that. I'll consider that. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Pretty much the same here. Again, big difference just being display quality. So here we are in Hill Climb 2 Racing. Hill Climb Racing 2. Pretty much the same to open that application. Let's get up out of there. And we're going to go ahead and go into the benchmarks now. So the iPad always wants to kind of go back to landscape. Let's go into 3D Mark. Speed test. And that's going to pretty much wrap it up here with the app test. It's looking to me like the Samsung was a little snappier in most of the applications. This could literally just be down to the animations. If I had a little bit faster animations on the iPad, it probably would have been about the same. So that's impressive for the Samsung because you're getting a phone that is as powerful as an M2 chip in just regular everyday usage. But let's see how it does in the benchmarks. First though, we're going to go ahead and see if we get any reloads with the RAM management, how it performs here. Just reloading the applications that we did get, and you'll see pretty good here. Let's go to Asphalt 9. Hold on. We'll go here. eBay, Best Buy, Starbucks, Twitter, Instagram, Amazon, and Play Store, weather here, clock, and calendar. So buttery smooth, really good for the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Let's go ahead and take a look now at the iPad. I was going to say iPhone. The iPad. And one thing the iPad really does have is just really, really buttery smooth reloads, just like the iPhone. It's just the way it feels, the polish of it. The Asphalt Reloaded was going back to the home page on both of them. Best Buy, We'll go into Starbucks, Twitter, Instagram, Amazon, Groupon. Yeah, this reminds me a lot of the iPhone. The only difference is I gotta come way down here to redo this. But yeah, this looked a little smoother to me than the Galaxy S23 Ultra. So the animation, I think if Samsung can make it just a little smoother looking, just a little bit, it would be like there would be nothing that the iPad would have on it right there. I'm gonna run a Geekbench 6 test, but what I'm gonna do is close all the applications. I've had a couple comments in the past saying, can you please close all the applications because it dramatically affects the Geekbench scores? Well, you can see now everything is closed out. We're gonna try that out to see if that theory is true. We're gonna go ahead and run a CPU benchmark and I'll be back when both are done. And here are our final scores, and you'll see that the Samsung wasn't too far behind on the single core, but as expected, much less on the multi-core score here than the iPad, finishing it with 9614 versus 5323 and a 1979 versus a 2491. But let's go ahead and see how they benchmark in the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme. Let's go ahead and hit start on both. To be fair with you here, I think really the only way that the M2 will really shine for you is if you're doing video editing or you're gaming to a degree where, you know, you're really pushing performance at its top level. Also, because the body is bigger, it probably won't heat up as fast as a smaller phone, just because you got to dissipate more heat in a smaller chassis here. So the iPad also can stand up away from your hand, so you won't be feeling it while it's getting warm. So definitely probably more comfortable, larger gaming experience here, obviously, on the iPad. And again, if you are going to be doing some professional video editing and stuff, I would lean towards the iPad. It's going to be a more powerful beast. But let's see what kind of frame rates we get on both of these, and I'll be back when they're done. And so our final Wildlife Extreme scores are in, and the Samsung S23 Ultra finishing again with a higher score than the iPhone, 3684 and a 22.10, scoring better than 87% of other devices with only a battery drop of 1%. Frame rates hovering around 12 to 28 FPS, so that's pretty good. You're not going to see too many stutters in your games. But in the iPad, you're going to have a much better sustained performance with really great frame rates here of 39.1, 6524 on the overall score. And 39.1 is quite a lot for a mobile product right here. You'll see scores better than 98% of other devices. So yeah, iPad definitely for the graphics and gaming, of course. But in everyday usage, you've seen here that the Samsung phone, for a phone that's in your pocket, is just a monster of a device. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the S24, how much faster it gets, and along with how much better cameras it gets. Maybe even if they change the design, we'll see. It's going to be exciting to see. But the next iPads, you probably won't see the next iPad Pros till next year probably, but overall, absolute monster. What's great about the iPad Pro is the price point. It's like $799. You don't get the accessories with all that, but still, it's just a beast of a tablet over here. So let me know your thoughts on both of these down below. Did you enjoy this unique, weird kind of a speed test comparison? Maybe I'll compare it to the Apple Watch next or to the MacBook. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Nick here. Thank you very much for watching, and peace.